So the topic will be asthma and COPD. Now, first of all, both of them are obstructive lung disease. We all know that asthma and COPD comes under obstructive lung disease. Then what is the main difference between these two? That means I want to tell you then how can you differentiate between these two. The main point, that is the main difference between these two, is the asthma is a reversible condition where COPD is an irreversible condition, and this is a very important point. You will identify asthma by its feature of reversible obstruction, whereas COPD is an irreversible obstruction. That is a very much important point you have to remember in your life. Now come to the next thing, that asthma is of two types. One is extrinsic, one is intrinsic. Now extrinsic asthma is the asthma that we normally know, that is it happens in the child. There is a history of atopy and rhinitis. The IgE level is increased and there is a type 1 hypersensitivity. Obviously the skin test for the allergen is a positive and prognosis is good. That is the normal asthma we know, and that is known as extrinsic asthma. Child, history of atopy, IgE level high, type 1 hypersensitivity, skin test positive, good prognosis. Whereas intrinsic asthma, otherwise known as idiosyncratic asthma, is commonly seen in adult onset. It is associated with nasal polyp and aspirin sensitivity. There is no history of allergy, so the IgE level is totally normal. Skin test is obviously negative as there is no case of allergy, and prognosis is bad here. So what is intrinsic asthma? Intrinsic or idiosyncratic in adult, associated with nasal polyp and aspirin sensitivity, no allergy, no type 1 hypersensitivity, normal IgE level, negative skin test for allergen, and bad prognosis. So these two are major important point here, with a bad prognosis and adult onset. Now this nasal polyp, aspirin sensitivity and intrinsic asthma together known as Samter's triad. That they together known as Samter's triad. Now a very important thing, you as a doctor we have to know the why, how, when you will diagnose a patient of this is a patient of acute severe asthma, then he or she must be a patient of asthma who is on treatment on asthma, and there will be some sort of precipitating factors here in case like upper respiratory tract infection. And after that, the features of asthma, the severity of asthma rises, and he comes in the emergency with very less words. He is not completing a sentence, he is just speaking words. The heart rate and respiratory rate both are increased. There will be hypoxemia. Obviously if there is hypoxemia, there is a chance of a cyanosis. And most importantly, there will be respiratory alkalosis. So asthma patient with a precipitating factor come in the emergency with high respiratory rate, high heart rate, with respiratory alkalosis, cyanosis. Think about none other than acute severe asthma. This is a case of acute severe asthma, and the treatment is MDI. He is asthmatic, so obviously he has some MDI with salbutamol and corticosteroid. It is the treatment of choice in case of acute severe asthma. But that's not a problem. What is problem? If this acute severe asthma transforms to a respiratory failure. Now how will you diagnose an impending respiratory failure in case of acute severe asthma? You have to look at 3 points. First, there will be a bradycardia. In acute severe asthma, there is tachycardia, but here is bradycardia. There will be respiratory acidosis and he will be totally silent. In acute severe asthma, there is alkalosis, tachycardia, and some words he is speaking, but now he is totally silent. There is acidosis, there is bradycardia. Think about an impending respiratory failure, and you have to do an immediate endotracheal intubation. That is the treatment here. You have to do an immediate endotracheal intubation. So that's it. Now there is one more thing known as brittle asthma. Brittle means which is very breakable. Now brittle means breakable. Actually there is two types of type 1, type 2, but brittles mean it's a chaotic variation in lung function test. LFT means lung function test or pulmonary function test. That means you are giving the treatment, still there is variation in the result. So in type 2, that is a classical brittle asthma where you give maximum treatment, still there is large variation in pulmonary function test or lung function test. That is known as type 1 brittle asthma, and we just continue the treatment here. There is no other way out. We give the bronchodilators, corticosteroid, oxygen, and that's it. Type 2 brittle asthma, here the patient is actually normal after the treatment. He or she is totally normal, but suddenly and unpredictably he or she become worse. So that is the point in type 2, sudden worsening of the situation after a totally normal condition, and here you have to give subcutaneous adrenaline. So that is the treatment in case of type 2 brittle asthma. Now come to COPD. I already told you that COPD is an irreversible procedure. It's an irreversible obstruction, and it can obstruct the large as well as small airway. In the large airway, if large airway obstructs, there will be cough sputum. If the small airway obstruction, there are features of small airway obstruction. But if you ask who is the most common, where the COPD mainly affects, the answer will be small airway, more specifically less than 2 millimeter size. Now one just isolated thing, red index. What is red index? Red index is the diameter of the bronchus, and this is the mucus gland diameter, and the red index is mucus gland diameter by the total diameter. That is known as red index. And as you know, in the COPD there is hyperplasia of the mucus gland. That means in COPD this B gets increased, so obviously red index increased in case of COPD. Now what are the features of COPD? You will see an expiratory wheeze. I have already told you in the other video that there is a problem during expiration in case of obstruction, because inspiration is an active process, there is air entry in case of expiration, but during expiration, as it's a passive process, in case of obstruction there is some problem. So FEV increased, FEV decreased, and this type of expiratory wheeze you are getting. Other than this, you all know barrel shaped chest. The patient will sit in a tripod fashion because it will relieve him. Actually, basically there will be a history of smoking. We all know there can be hypoxemia leads to cyanosis. So that are the thing you can see in case of COPD. We all know COPD is of two types, emphysema and bronchitis. If a COPD is emphysema predominant, so they are actually non-cyanotic at rest, and we call them pink puffer. So who are pink puffer? The COPD patient who are emphysema predominant, because this is non-cyanotic, so they are pink. So it's pink puffer. But the bronchitis predominant COPD patients, they are cyanotic. So obviously they will be known as blue bloater. But one important point you have to remember, that clubbing is not a feature of COPD. Clubbing is in lots of features like lung cancer, like non-small cell lung cancer, or in case of cystic fibrosis, sarcoidosis, asbestosis, in lots of cases. In case of GIT, like inflammatory bowel disease, GI cancer like esophageal cancer, congenital cyanotic heart disease, aortic aneurysm, aortic fistula, this type of things, and hyperthyroidism. You may get features of clubbing, but importantly not in case of COPD. So clubbing is not a feature of COPD. It's a very important point. Now again, COPD can lead to respiratory failure, and you can identify this by the ABG, and you will see acidosis. In case of acute severe asthma, we also see acidosis, and we are thinking it's an impending respiratory failure. And here also same thing, respiratory acidosis, respiratory failure, and you have to give low flow humidified oxygen. So that is the treatment in case of impending respiratory failure in case of COPD. Now there are types of emphysema, like this is terminal bronchial, then respiratory bronchial, and alveolar. So we all know that. Now if the emphysema only affects the respiratory bronchial, that is known as centri-acinar, and that is the most common type, mainly seen in the apical region. So centri-acinar in the central part, it is the center na, terminal bronchial, alveolus in the two sides, centrally respiratory bronchial. So this is known as centri-acinar, most common, and C for C, it is seen in case of COPD. So COPD, centri-acinar, most common, apical. One thing is known as pan-acinar, which affects both respiratory bronchial and alveolus. This is known as pan-acinar, and this is basically seen in the lower zone, and it is seen in case of alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. There is one more type known as paraseptal. This only involves the alveolus. This is seen in the subpleural region in case of bulla, emphysema as bulla, and in case of pneumothorax. Now, in case of any volume you want to measure, like residual volume, which is normally we can't measure in case of spirometry, or bulla volume, the volume inside the bulla, we have to use this body plethysmography. That name you have to remember. The body plethysmography is the best for any volume actually. There is a gold criteria for the severity of COPD. Now, COPD is an obstructive lung disease, so obviously FEV1 by FVC should be less than 0.7. There is no doubt. This will be less, and it will be less than 0.7. The main differentiating feature between type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4 is FEV1. That we have to see. FEV1 is 80% in case of mild, 50 to 80% in case of moderate, 30 to 50 in case of severe, and less than 30% in case of very severe. So grade 1 mild, grade 2 moderate, grade 3 severe, grade 4 very severe, 80% FEV1, 50 to 80, 30 to 50, less than 30. Now, what are the treatment of COPD? COPD is an irreversible condition. No treatment can cure it. But we can do a cessation of smoking, beta agonist, bronchodilators like thing. Macrolides, antibiotic has a role. That's the important thing. Antibiotic has a role in case of COPD. We give oxygen. Now, it's a controversy whether we can use steroid like glucocorticoids or not. I can say glucocorticoid is used in case of exacerbation. In case of exacerbation, you should use glucocorticoid, but it should not use in long term, because it has much more risks than benefits. So long term, no use of glucocorticoids, but you can use in case of exacerbation. In case of exacerbation, we also use this non-invasive positive pressure ventilation. Non-invasive positive pressure ventilation is also used in case of exacerbation, but you have to remember this NIPPVV, there is some contraindication, like in case of CVS abnormality we can't use it. In case of mental abnormality we can't use it. If there is some trauma in the face or facial defect we can't use it. So NIPPVV is used in case of exacerbation of COPD, but it has some contraindication like CVS abnormality, mental abnormality, and trauma. So that's it. Thank you.